I'd like to call the regularly scheduled meeting for the Village of Tinley Park Planning Commission to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Can we get a roll call?
Yes. Commissioner Gaskell,
Present.
Commissioner Gatto,
Present.
Commissioner Hamilton,
Here.
Commissioner Manny,
Here.
Commissioner Merrick, here, Commissioner Montalvo, Commissioner Martinez, Commissioner Sepisi, Chairman Gray.
Present. Okay, we do have a quorum. We'll move on to communications. Are there any communications at this time, staff?
Yes, I've got two things. First, Commissioner Montalvo is out because he had a heart attack on Tuesday. So he is in the hospital recovering. He seems like he's doing pretty well. He's supposed to have a procedure this weekend to address whatever they find. But so he is not here today because of that, and he didn't give any anticipated timeline for when he might be back, but I would not count on him to be here for the next few meetings at least.
Okay.
And then the second item is going to be that we are requesting to switch up the agenda and hear the gas and wash item first and the 16532 special use for an apartment second.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
We will move on then to approval of minutes. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the July 17, 2025 regularly scheduled planning commission meeting? Okay, motion made by Commissioner
Second.
Manny, seconded by Commissioner Hamilton. All those in favor of approving the July 17th meeting minutes for the planning commission, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion is carried. The minutes are approved. So we will move to item 1, which will be our continuation of a public meeting to consider recommending that the village board grant gas and wash, approving the revised plans relating to retaining wall finish treatments and landscaping enhancements at 18301 Grange Road in the B3 General Business and Commercial Zoning District. We don't have to have it, we just have to
Correct.
continue.
You don't need to open.
We don't have to
You
open the
just-
meeting because it's a public meeting, not a public hearing. So we will just continue the public meeting as we left off last week.
Would you like me to briefly run through the presentation from last time, just because we have
Yes,
more members in the audience and different
yes,
commissioners? Okay.
sure, that is, that's fine.
So I sent each of the plan commissioners an email that we did receive a revised proposal for a material finish on the wall. So once I'm done running through this briefly, I'm going to ask that the petitioner come up. They have prepared a presentation and provided us with samples so you can see what the current proposal is. So this is the gas and wash on 183rd and LaGrange. It was approved in 2023, opened late 2024, and it's been operating under temporary certificate of occupancy since it opened while outstanding items were dealt with. At this time, the only remaining outstanding item is the finish of the retaining wall that's along the LaGrange Road frontage. So this is just a site plan architectural approval because of the way that the 2023 approval that you all gave to the petitioner for the project, it was just a condition on the site plan. So we just need to change your site plan approval if you are agreeable to their proposal. So this is what the wall generally looks like now. The vertical and horizontal lines you see on the concrete are the lines left by the casts from when the concrete was poured. So that's why you see it looks paneled, but it's really just an effect of how the concrete was poured. The 2023 site plan architectural approval granted by the Plan Commission had a condition on it that any retaining wall proposed by the petitioner at the final engineering phase of the project must be constructed of materials substantially compatible to the building and fueling canopies. And the intention of that condition was to, while still allowing some flexibility, have this wall covered in some compatible masonry material. So ideally, it would be the same brick as was used for the convenience store and gas station, the convenience store and car wash, but we wanted to leave a little flexibility in case that wasn't the best product to use. So now, the proposal that they had originally brought forward to you all at the last Plan Commission meeting was to use a masonry coating made by Sherwin-Williams that would be tinted this relaxed khaki color. It's a neutral beige. The color is used throughout the site. This coating is primarily designed to seal and protect concrete from the elements so that it holds up longer and requires less cleaning and maintenance. They have a new product that they're proposing, but the manufacturer of that product still recommends using this Luxon masonry coating prior to applying the new product so that you have a good sealed base before you apply the new product. They're proposing this new product to be the same relaxed khaki color, so it would be same method of just tinting this material. They're also proposing increased landscaping. We discussed this at the last meeting. The petitioner said they were generally agreeable to the plan shown on the bottom, which came from our landscape architect. It involves plantings of Techni arborvitae, which is an evergreen variety that does well in wet soil and can even withstand standing water for short durations. The landscape architect recommended the inclusion of this Arctic dogwood, the red shrub you see on the bottom right of the presentation, and that is so there's additional color and variety. The red kind of goes with Gas and Wash's brand image. It'll break up the originally proposed kind of more solid wall type planting design of just having evergreen trees. So they agreed that they would move forward with the recommendation of our landscape architect. So they would incorporate both species. The Arctic dogwood also does really well in wet soil, so there's less concerns about survivability. Okay, and then I have the standards for the architectural and site plan approval. I do have a motion. The motion has not changed from the previous meeting just because it was written in a way that kind of allows the flexibility of whatever they're proposing. So with that, I will ask that the petitioner come up to present the proposal. I do have material samples here, so I can pass them out to you so you can get a feel of the texture of the material they're proposing. It's kind of like a stucco-like finish. And then, like I said, they are using that relaxed khaki color, so we have that as well. And I'll pull up the presentation that they sent over.
Okay. We could go to the next slide, please. My name is Chris Kolashevsky from WT Group. We're at 2675 Praedom Avenue, Hoffman Estates, Illinois 60192. We are the architects and the engineers for this project. And we did go, since the last time we've looked at the product, I do want to go a little bit more general for the benefit of the one member that was not here last time. Again, in regards to the landscaping that's proposed in front of the wall, we have 31 trees, and we have 16 dogwoods. The trees are a variety of deciduous and coniferous, and so that's all going to be in front of the wall, and you'll see the view of that from the perspective. But as you can see in the plan here, it'll be densely covered with landscaping. And what our goal is that that wall becomes just a neutral backdrop, so that then you will see the landscaping kind of contrast to that and be a little bit more augmented, and then also visibility to the facility above. We just want to emphasize that the product that we're offering is alleviating a concern that we have of doing a thick masonry product that's put on the wall itself. You can see that when you're driving on the Kennedy Expressway and such, the crumbling walls of the sound walls that are there, because it's a hard maintenance product. And so that's why we're offering this product, which is not a cheap product. It's a very expensive product, and especially we would be doing a 3-step process. We'd be grinding any of those joints. We'd be putting in the block filler, or as you saw, the Lexan, and then we would be putting on the Ultracrete Conflex product. And from what you can see from the texture here itself, it's going to be able to, it is on a sprayed format. There comes in 3 finishes: an extra fine, which we didn't feel was appropriate, and then we have medium and then an extra thick coursing there between the samples. This is an attempt to get with those more towards the extra coating of that. So this would be the color. This color mimics all our canopy columns, our bollards, our fencing. So it's an integral color to the design of the facility itself. So we feel that the original interpretation, we felt we were meeting it. It's interpreted differently from the staff viewpoint, but we felt by offering this product with this color, we are meeting the original restriction. So with that, we're offering this product. We feel, as you know, Gas and Wash has an excellent record of maintenance. This will allow for easier maintenance and will allow for the landscaping not to be bothered when we come back and we recoat this in a decade or so. It'll be a lot easier process, whereas going in and fixing like the sound walls, you see what they're doing. They're replacing the whole kit and caboodle, which would destroy the mature landscaping that's there. So we really feel that we're meeting the intent of the zoning ordinance. We're trying to provide something that is very aesthetically pleasing. We're providing landscaping over and above the amount that's required, and we got a product that's going to be well maintained and last.
Chris, just a quick question. So you gave us the medium and the coarse samples. I know you're not using the fine. So have you chosen between the two, like medium versus coarse, or?
We're going to give it to the
Okay.
staff, what would be preference.
Fair
for the
enough.
staff.
Just so you guys know, the one that was closer, that's the medium. The one that's a little farther spaced, that's the, says on the back, that's the coarse. This is the medium, so it becomes like a, you know, what visually looks pleasing. And I know you're seeing it from a distance, so it would be something where your eye may blend it even if it's coarser looking.
Yeah, and the concept here is that this will provide a uniform finish, not a smooth uniform finish, but a textured uniform finish on that whole wall. And again, become that backdrop. If you go to the next slide here, please. That's just a zoom up again, just reemphasizing 31 trees are going to be in front of this retaining wall and 16 dogwoods. Next slide, please. So here you see it. So the concept is the color there is going to be a neutral backdrop and let the landscape pop so that you really augment, highlight the landscaping. And the next one, that's a different view as well. Again, just highlighting the landscaping. And then the last one, that's the actual sample. Obviously, the camera's tinting and the screen is tinting it, but this is the actual color there. It does match all of, again, bollards, canopy columns, fascia trim, soffit trim. It's a very common color in our scheme. And then the next ones are exactly the two samples that you see going by, the different texture, and then the back of it. And then finally, a cut sheet on this. So this is a thick product, goes on very thick. Again, the process that we're thinking of is we would trim or we would grind the joints that are excessive. Then we would put the block filler, which is the Lexan, and then we would be putting on 2 coats of the Ultracrete. And this represents 2 coats. And we're here for any questions.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Thank you, Mike. So we'll start with Commissioner Hamilton. Any comments on the?
I have 2 questions.
Sure, go ahead.
One is it necessary to grind? Because sometimes, design-wise, you look for patterns, you look for the lines and so on, and I don't know if
There are certain spots where the forms actually did something like, forms are supposed to be like that, and they did this. And so there's a little excessive amount there, so we're gonna be hitting those with the excessive amount.
See, okay. And is there ever a concern about graffiti on a large scale like this? It looks like it would be inviting informal decoration on the wall.
Well, it is a 24-hour facility. We would think that that would not be it. We will have all that landscaping, so people will be there. It's a highly traveled route, so people are, it's not like they're doing it back in the corner not seen. But this product would actually be much better than if you had a masonry unit, you'd have to replace the whole masonry unit, or worse yet, paint everything. And this, the coating, we would just reapply a new coating over that.
Thank you.
Okay. And I would just say this, even if you had the masonry, you might have people that want to spray paint it anyhow, so like that, it's, either way, I think it's an invitation if you have a wall anywhere and somebody with a mind for destruction, but, Commissioner Gaskell.
I've got no comments.
Okay. Do you, I just want to ask you informally, do you prefer this versus what was proposed previously?
Oh, yes, yes.
Okay. Any preference on the coarse versus the medium for either of you guys?
Well, I like the medium the best.
Okay,
I think that would, because it's more dense, it looks like the bumps are more dense.
sure,
That would kind of hide more flaws in the concrete itself.
sure. Any,
I like the coarser one, but I think at the distance, you won't be able to tell.
yeah,
Yeah, probably not.
okay. Commissioner Manning?
After, thinking about from the last, meeting, I'm still stuck on the accountability. Since this was signed back and you said, Michael, 8/17/2023, the condition that wall needs to be, thin brick or what have you. And then when you guys provided them the first TCO that was signed by the owner or the petitioner in December 11, it still had that condition. So was there any pushback from him at that point?
So I know that the first TCO that we issued in December of '24, that one had the condition pretty explicitly that there needed to be a thin brick masonry veneer, and it
Correct.
specified some installation method as well. The second TCO, when we extended the first one, that was in March, I believe, that also had that
Right.
item listed explicitly, the language hadn't changed.
And signed as well in agreement?
Yes. And then over the summer, I think once some of the more pressing issues with the site got resolved, for instance, when they opened, they had to run off a generator because ComEd had not gotten the necessary equipment installed yet. and it took a long time to get them to do so. So I think that once some of those like major concerns were relieved, then the focus became, we had to do landscaping, it hadn't been installed yet, and then the finished treatment for the wall. So after that March extension of the TCO, I think I was not party to any conversations, but hearing in the office from the former director, Dan Ritter, once the wall became kind of the only outstanding item, that's when the condition on the TCO changed to say that they needed to come before you all to modify that condition that was originally imposed. And then we have since extended that one more time to expire mid-October.
If I may, just in regards to the actual listing of the condition, there's a lot of talk about brick and that. The actual condition says, any retaining wall proposed by the petitioner at the final engineering phase of the project must be constructed of materials substantially compatible to the buildings and ceiling canopies. We're interpreting that. It doesn't say specifically brick or anything like that. So we're trying to tie it into the overall design and be a background. I do thank you, sir. I did go to, we were first talking to our local Sherwin-Williams rep. We went to the regional rep, Annie Conway, and she talked to the national technical rep, and they're the ones that came up with the UltraCrete. So I went to the regional headquarters, had a meeting with them in Schaumburg, I personally, and then I went to their Chicago office where they have their commercial products, and that's where I purchased and made this sample from.
Well, Chris, I do appreciate the follow-up. That's really, I mean, based off the concerns from 2 weeks ago, that's a lot of
Right.
follow-up.
If I
Appreciate
could,
that as well.
I could also
As well.
address the,
But I think, Commissioner Gray, you mentioned that a coating is not really a constructive,
No,
part of construction.
And I understand, yeah, where the petitioner is saying that they interpreted materials to mean something similar to whatever's on their building. In this case, it looks like a color, whereas paint itself is not necessarily a color. I don't know if you classify the, effectively this concrete that's textured, but that's a little bit more substantial than just a coat of paint. So I do think it
Yeah.
has some materialistic properties versus something you said last time, Commissioner Manning, I think it was spot on, is you put a coat of paint, and the
Right.
petitioners already mentioned, they are going to grind off areas that went through the form boards to flatten those out, and then use effectively use that Loxon as a primer almost, but it'll have a dual purpose, it'll seal the moisture out, and then they're going to put this concrete material that's gonna be put on with a pump, right? They're gonna
It's gonna
spray
be
it,
sprayed,
Yeah.
commercial heavy.
yeah, versus
Large nozzle.
brushed. So it has materialistic properties, it's got concrete in the name. And I will say this, like, having the same accent on something like that, which is gonna texturize it and therefore give it some sort of character, versus seeing what you mentioned 2 weeks ago, and what Michael showed up on the screen, where you just see the panelization from the forms. And I think that'll all, those three things, the grinding, the painting, and that texturization, they'll seal it off, but it'll give it some sort of aesthetic. And then the aesthetic also will match the columns, the canopy, and some of the other elements of the building. So I agree, I interpret, that saying differently, but to the petitioner's point, it doesn't specify specifically brick. So, whether this was, just something where it was just subject to interpretation. But with that said, I do think this does improve greatly what we have. Like I said, the last week, the biggest thing that we were talking about, I think going back and forth, and we kind of did a straw poll, was, and I don't claim to be an expert, was the maintenance issues. Like, if you force their hand to put something up, in a year, if it looks like, people, with a smile with missing teeth because panels have fallen off, I don't claim to be an expert to know the durability. From what they've proposed here, it does look like that it's going to be a less concern for maintenance in terms of having something that's aesthetically pleasing, and when those vegetation, the planted vegetation gets lush, it's gonna pretty much blend in pretty well. It's gonna be neutral, you're gonna see the vegetation. So in that way, I do think it's a far better alternative than saying, you must put this up, and then a year's time, it looks like, you're missing teeth here and there. But again, I don't know, I don't claim to be an expert on that, on those walls. I know once you get moisture in, if you can't seal it from moisture, you will get popping just because of water freezes and expands. So there was compounded concerns I had, but,
Commissioner?
yes, Mike.
Some of, Gas and Wash worked very transparently with us since November on this. Their concern was to get the building safe with the actual permanent power to the building. Then they said, we're going to focus on this wall, which they have done. They have met with myself and Jason Enberg out there multiple times, along with Dan Ritter. The project they're coming up with right now, to me, is a great product, because it's an acrylic aggregate. Means it has a little aggregate in it, it's acrylic. It contains agents that to me are very important. It's mildew resistant. Okay, so being that close to water, you're not gonna see mildew or any sort of fungi that's at the bottom of it. It has great expansion and contraction coefficients. The recommended extra course that I like, just my architectural background, will cover the imperfections of these vertical lines. Them grinding this wall down to get these butted joints that the concrete ooze down, because as they get damaged over years, we're using them, and they're tied together. I was there when they were tying them together, doing the inspections. You're gonna see these form lines. Then grinding it down is gonna have actual no structural damage to the wall. The wall is 16 inches thick in some areas and even thicker in other areas. So then grinding this wall down is a process within itself. Putting this product on that's a sealer, and as long as the pH is below a certain level, I believe it's between 4 and 9, and the temperature is over 40 degrees, this product with the 2 coats is gonna cover all of that up. And I don't think that with the testing that they have, which is they go with a type B testing procedure, is they bend it over a cylinder, not a cone, a cylinder. And if they don't see any cracks to the naked eye, it passes the acrylic expansion contraction coefficients. So to me, that was what I was looking at when I was doing my research on this, is that even from the naked eye, you're not gonna see any hairline cracks. It's that acrylic double product. And I think putting it up is gonna really blend in. I think the 2 coats is gonna really cover a lot of it, and it's gonna make it nice and uniform and match. But I think it's a good product.
And seal it up. I
Yeah.
mean, once Michael sent the specs for this, I looked online too, so I'm glad actually, Chris, that you guys brought the example here, because it's easier to see what the end product looks like than read the specs on what it's gonna be. So I think a picture is worth 1,000 words, and then a 3D object's worth even more. But yeah, that's the main thing, is if you have it sealed off, you're not gonna have those issues with any sort of water penetration, or, that was the big issue on the thin brick. If you had, and I know Commissioner Gaskell was talking about the old Granite City building and stuff, and I did take a look at it. So I'm no expert on how that would be durable, and do you wanna have some reclamation project every year? Because, I don't think so. I think that's not, you want it to look good for as long as it can until it needs more TLC.
The thing about this with the flexibility in this bend, it's a 180-degree bend, so it's a total bend. So it's very flexible, and the thing that's even better about this is it passed an impact resistance. in accordance with ASTM. So even from an impact of anything that may have been picked up by a truck driving down at 50 miles an hour and hits that wall,
Yeah.
or anything, it's impact resistant. So that to me is also a big plus in this product.
Right, yeah, it won't chip the
That's
wall in
correct.
half. It hit
Yeah,
the-
whereas if we
the
put
stone.
brick in, it will chip because brick
Yeah.
is brittle in that.
Right.
that
Yeah,
course.
it's like the fine balance of, you don't want to have something that you're gonna constantly, it's gonna look like not good because it's not holding up, right? So, yeah, okay, well, thank you for the breakdown, Mike. Commissioner Manning, any more comments?
Yeah. You know, again, as I originally stated, you know, it's just, to me, it's about accountability, you know. You know, I see it as a renege, and I see that you owe Tinley Park, you know, what was the conditions of providing for this project. You know, I was trying to look through the original set to see, did it call out a paver or a brick? Did it call out?
No,
It had
so, the permit drawings for the, mass grading permit, which came first,
Mm,
specified that, the architecture plans would include that, but there wouldn't be architecture plans for a mass grading permit. So, there was references to other plan sets that would be forthcoming, so we never got a commitment on a permit to use any specific product. There was just these references to future document submittals that did not come through.
So then did you request, you know, hey, what's gonna be? Or it just got-
I don't
it-
know
it
that
fell through
it
the cracks?
was like a formal request, like as part of a permit review. I can find that information. It'll take a while, so I can't do it tonight. But I do know that this had been discussed in detail with the petitioner and I believe even the ownership of the company. So, yeah, it had just been flagged in many conversations that what we were expecting based on that original condition.
They never once tried to say, well, what's the big deal? They work with us. Michael Hackett, I think we had so many phone calls going back and forth that it was like they wanted to come up with a nice, reasonable solution.
Well, I mean,
Which
you
I
know,
know they have done straight across all the time, so I think it was just a communication on the plans between the mass grading, civil engineering, structural engineering. When you think about it, I'm in the design business and 30 years' experience, it's kind of like, who really does pick that up? Would it be the civil engineer, would it be the structural engineer? You know, so it might have been just a communication, that's it.
so
I-
that communication breakdown, it's been 2 years' worth. That's it. If I would have done that, I would have probably get fired. Okay, so those are my comments, you know.
Okay. Well, thank you, Commissioner Manning. Commissioner Gatto, any comments?
No, I did some research on the product also, and it seems like it's really durable, and it had great reviews on it from other commercial buildings that have used it, so I don't have any problem with it.
Commissioner Merrick?
I don't have anything to add beyond what I said last time. I'm in the same position as Commissioner Manning in terms of how I think it's gonna look. It's an eyesore right now. It looks really bad. I don't really think the drawings, the renderings do justice in terms of the trees and stuff are so covering that you can't even tell it's a gas and wash behind it. It clearly won't look like that from the road, that it blocks everything. You clearly want people to know you're driving by a gas and wash. I don't buy that this is gonna do a good enough job of breaking up that surface. And I don't think that we're holding this group accountable the same way that we have other folks. In fact, we had somebody who came and built an entire house, and we told them, you gotta remove the entire facade or or have the house destroyed.
if you don't meet the criteria that you agreed to ahead of time before you did it. So, I'm not convinced. I see what you have. I don't want to get into the nitty-gritty about whether or not I think an acrylic coating is a masonry facing. They're two different things, but other people can engage in what that means or whether or not. I felt like at the last meeting, that we were told originally that that was gonna be good enough, and we were good, that it would be once every 6 years, there would need to be maintenance. Today, we're told once a decade. We were told it wasn't about money, but it's also about money, right? So the conflicting sorts of things and the requirements we held for other people who have properties in the same area. So I don't think this is gonna match in very well, and I worry about what it's gonna look like in a couple of years. I'm also not convinced that this is the same, that this structure would face the same sorts of deal that an expressway like 294 does with those walls. So the traffic is lighter here than it is on the expressway. It's not going as fast. It's a further distance. Again, I'm not an engineer, but I think it's a price issue, and it's a ex post facto decision to cut costs. That's how it feels to me. I also don't think it's gonna look very good. I'm really worried about this huge, long beige thing that will have really nothing to break it up. That texture is gonna be invisible. It's gonna be a beige wall with stains and stuff from the water and other things, and then some shrubs that don't actually grow to cover it to the height that it would be necessary. It'd be better if the wall looked good, as opposed to us trying to cover it and have it blend in. But I could be wrong, right? So we'll see in a couple of years, is my guess,
And
whether or not I'm right.
I do want to add, Commissioner Merrick, in terms of the comments, like, because I thought about this, and I looked at all the stuff that we got yesterday, but I do think, like, this case is different than, I know you're talking about the one house in Odyssey, where the gentleman was the contractor, and he signed an affidavit according to plans on how they would be built, and it specified brick, and then he didn't have brick. Here, to the petitioner's point, and I'm just saying this because that's where some of the gray area came in, was it doesn't specifically say brick, and then,
It says masonry, doesn't it?
no,
It says,
the special
any
use.
retaining wall proposed by the petitioner, the final engineering phase of the project must be constructed of materials substantially compatible to the buildings and fueling capabilities.
Okay.
so
but
it's
we've heard-
materials is the
Sure.
word.
But we've
That's the
heard
word
from
we talked
the
about last
village
week.
folks that it was, the expectation clearly shared with them was that it would be a masonry finish, right? We've heard that repeat, am I right? Yes.
Yes.
So maybe somebody's saying one thing that they agree to verbally in meetings repeatedly, but then we get into the specifics of a way in which we could interpret that another way. I've heard that for the entire time period we've been going through, they've been told it needed to be a masonry finish.
And-
So
And I also
that's-
think too,
yeah.
like, the fact, and this was asked about the plans, like, there wasn't a plan, like, detail, 3B, that showed brick on the wall,
Yeah,
then,
yeah,
like,
I agree.
so
Masonry to me
that's where,
doesn't
like,
mean brick.
if they,
Masonry to me
if they
doesn't
came up
mean
and said,
brick.
we know it's supposed to be brick, but this, like I said, the other gentleman signed an affidavit, here's the stamp plans, that's what he was gonna do,
I
but,
mean, and
But-
Okay, let me just put in, on the
Yeah.
temporary certificates of occupancy, number one, masonry veneer required on exposed concrete portion of the retaining wall. Veneer should be held 4 inches from grade. It's spelled out multiple times.
yeah. Okay, fair enough, what date is on that one?
That one is, December 11th, 2024.
Yeah.
And the next one is, the next one, it says the same thing, it's a temporary TCO. signed, by the petitioner, March 31st. Again, masonry veneer requiring exposed concrete portion of the retaining wall. So it has been spelled out black and white. And then we have what are the two that I have? So it's spelled out masonry, and we're in August. There was no conversation between the initial TCO to, like, hey, I have to do masonry, how about let's change, see if they'll go for it.
So
But it's August now.
technically, a masonry veneer can be brick, stone, or other masonry materials. So this product is a masonry material. When you read what the product actually is,
Right.
it's a masonry material that stuff is that they presented.
Well, that's an interpretation, but,
I mean, that's the basic definition of what a masonry veneer is. So that's, I mean, when you look at that and you look at what the
Another
product
veneer.
is, that's a masonry
no, I
veneer.
don't think so veneer.
Even though it says masonry on it, the product
Yeah,
has
it's a
masonry in
product,
it.
It's a veneer, no, it's not.
I mean, everything I
That's what
read
it-
says
you
that
know.
that's what it is.
Well, and then and that was another thing, Commissioner Merrick, that you brought up that is a salient point too, in terms of long-term, what will that wall look like?
That's my big concern.
Yeah, I know, and I think that was a lot of people's concerns. And a lot of it stuck down, or came down to, I think, durability issues, right? So there was a big proponent last week saying it's going to fall apart, but then also, like I said, I'm not some expert, but I do agree, trying to compare I-80 to LaGrange Road, that's probably different type of, I guess, stress that the wall would endure, but I'm not a manufacturer of that, I don't install it, so I don't know exactly what causes it to deteriorate quickly. I know water is a facilitator though, because it freezes. So in terms of I just think, if it does look like Granite City, you're gonna be coming back there every year and it's gonna look out of sorts.
But the same thing is, if you were to brick this, and the amount of water that sits there, I
Yep.
see it every day.
Yep.
We own a pressure washing business, and we see it every day on foundations of houses that have brick. What happens? It's the way it settles, it gets all moldy, and then it just crumbles and falls apart. It's the same thing as the concrete that's already there.
And I saw, when I passed and it was at the stoplight, they have the outlets to the retaining wall right there, and I think if you get a water backup or something, you're gonna have that water source at the base of that wall. So I do think you gotta seal it, and, I don't know, take that element out, but, I don't know, all the commissioners have made some good points here.
But no matter what they do, they're gonna seal it,
Yeah, well, yeah,
regardless.
well, you have to, you
Yeah,
have to.
I agree,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I used to do masonry for a living. So, so mostly flat work. And I know a lot's changed since I've done it. But in any case, I mean, those are my concerns. And
Sure.
I worry about whether or not this will actually look good when we're done. And that's the biggest thing I worry about. And I know that this will be easier in terms of maintenance. I heard last time you said maintenance-free, doesn't need to be touched. At another point in the thing, you talked about every 6 years reapplying that coat. And today you said once every decade. I know that you'll need to do maintenance and that you're trying to minimize how much work needs to go back into making that look good. I'm worried that it won't look good. And that's my main concern. I'm also worried about the ways in which it ties into the broader piece of everything that we're doing in that area as a village, and whether or not that will tie into the neighboring properties, which is part of what we're looking at when we're figuring out whether or not the new pieces meet or match in ways that look good. And I know Gas and Wash has its own brand. I mean, we heard from the Hilton people about their brand and how they needed it to be a particular way, and they couldn't move off of it until they could, right, to get it approved that better matched with what we had and what their designs were. So, and I acknowledge that you've made an adjustment based on last time's feedback. I'm not moved, but I'm one voice.
Okay. Any other commissioners with any additional comments? Does the petitioner want to add anything to it?
Just what we said before, you know, Gas and Wash's commitment to Tinley Park, the nature of their facilities, and this we feel is offering a better product that will look good, and will augment again the landscaping. So we feel this is a good product.
Okay.
This is Mike Hackett. I'd just like to say, I respect all, the opinions and everything, and I hear that. And, Gas and Wash has been around really since about 2011. It's been around a lot longer than that. But I challenge anyone that look at any of our facilities, and there's almost 40 of them, and look at the maintenance of them going all the way back to 2011. Whether it be the brick, whether it be the veneer, whether it be the aesthetic appearance of them. That's one thing Len McHenry takes a lot of pride in and does care about, every one of them. So, I mean, I get that, I get the maintenance with it, but, we're not going anywhere, we're from here. And I think we've done a good job of taking care of everything that we have. So that's all I need to say.
Well, to your point, so I make a comment, and to your point that the owner takes pride, right? And he wanted to have that gas station, as far into that corner of that site. Well, that retaining wall is part of his, not just the building, but that's part of Gas and Wash. So take pride in the retaining wall and put a masonry veneer so it could tie in the Gas and Wash. Not just have this outside element, khaki color, whatever, but no, make it masonry and it'll tie it in really nice. And then Tinley Park would be proud of it, and he looks great. That's my issue there. We're not, all the residents of Tinley Park want to make, our village, exceptional. That's it.
We appreciate that comment.
I don't think we have any other comments. So.
Yeah, in our view, we are. We are offering a masonry product, and we're offering a product that will look good for the duration of the project.
Okay. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Mike. At this point, we'll go to, we'll bring up the motion and vote on the motion, so.
Does the audience get to feed in if they want to at this stage?
Oh, sure, if the
Yeah,
public,
right.
yeah.
Not claiming that that's
Yeah.
why they're here.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Sir, if you can come up to the lectern and just state your name. It's a public meeting, so I don't have to swear you in, just.
Carlos Williams. The question is, that is a Sherwin-Williams product, correct? And that particular product, can Sherwin-Williams refer a customer base that is using the same use case to see what they have experienced, the longevity of the product?
If I may just read from their spec sheet, it says, under recommended systems, to use this product in a concrete setting, it says to use Conflex Ultracrete with or without a primer on properly prepared surfaces with a certain pH. And it says to use the Luxon masonry coating, which is what they previously were hoping to do, and then add 1 to 2 coats of this Conflex Ultracrete. So the manufacturer of the product does recommend this specific use case for the product. It's also a very versatile product. You can use it on anything, really. So they have a installation method for interior drywall, exterior drywall, wood or composite boards, steel, tilt-up, precast. Like it kind of can go on anything, and it can kind of go in any location.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I wasn't clear. Is there a way that you could ask Sherwin-Williams from their customer base to find out that particular product, is it in use anywhere in Chicago? And maybe that particular customer can tell you their experiences. If they've had to replace it in, you said a year, 10 years or 6 years, you should be able to say, okay, Sherwin, give me customers that are using this and see what the results are.
It's used a lot in downtown Chicago.
Well, that's fine. Let's get a customer and talk to them. That's my recommendation as a Tinley Park resident.
Any other comments from the public? Okay. Seeing none, we will move to the motions then. Do you have a motion on the floor on the site plan?
Sure. I'll make a motion. To grant site plan architectural approval to the petitioner, Leonard McHenry of Gas and Wash, to modify the previous site plan architectural approval granted by the Plan Commission on August 17, 2023, to remove the condition E stating, any retaining wall proposed by the petitioner at the final engineering phase of the project must be constructed of materials substantially compatible to the buildings and fueling canopies at 18301 LaGrange Road in accordance with the plans submitted, and adopt the findings of fact as proposed in the July 17th, 2025 staff report.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Hamilton, seconded by Commissioner Gaskell. Can I get a roll call, Michael?
Commissioner Gaskell,
Yes.
Commissioner Gatto,
Yes.
Commissioner Hamilton,
Yes.
Commissioner Manny,
No.
Commissioner Merrick,
No.
Chairman Gray.
Yes. Okay, so the motion does carry. So that ends it here. You don't have to go to the village board, is my understanding. It is approved.
Yes, with that condition being struck from your original 2023 approval, they would now be allowed to use any reasonable material that staff deems is appropriate. We've discussed the product they're proposing. Staff is deeming it appropriate, so we would be able to remove that condition from the TCO and issue a full certificate of occupancy once the product is completely installed and inspected.
Okay. Is there a target date for the completion of that or final inspection? Or I know it's,
I extended the conditional CO for 60 days from, I think it's actually tomorrow. And I'll give them plenty of time to get the work done. I think they have expressed possibly to get it done within the month, hopefully. So this way we can get that squared away, issue the full CMO, and the project will be complete.
okay. Thank you, Michael. Okay. You're free to go, gentlemen. We'll move on to item 2 for tonight. Item 2 is a public hearing to consider recommending that the village board grant Dr. Jason Crescenzo on behalf of Tinley Park Medical Property LLC and Amazing Smiles a special use for a dwelling located to the rear of a principal commercial use and site plan architectural approval at 16532 Oak Park Avenue in the B3 General Business and Commercial Zoning District. I have received notification for the certificate of publication for the public hearing for this item. With that said, can I have a motion to open the public hearing?
Make a motion to open the public hearing.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Hamilton, seconded by Commissioner Manny. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, the public hearing for this item is open. So staff, if you want to present your findings, please do.
Okay, so this is a medical office just on the street from us, 16532 Oak Park Avenue on the west side of the street. It's at 165th Place and Oak Park, right at that intersection. It's 2 blocks north of our official downtown and our legacy plan area, so this does fall into our standard zoning ordinance that has the base zoning districts. This property is zoned B3, general business and commercial. There's existing Pace Bus service on Oak Park Avenue, just flagging that for you. As we talk about a denser housing type, it's good to have denser housing in proximity to public transportation in general. And as I mentioned, this is currently, the building is currently used as medical offices, although there are some vacancies that they've been struggling to fill for a while. It's a 11,000 square foot, 2-level office building, and it does have an elevator. It was built in the early 2000s. It was a restaurant prior to that, and I believe that restaurant had a fire and had to close. So it was sold, and then a developer built this medical office building. The existing parking lot has 49 parking stalls, 2 of which are accessible. And Suite 102 on the ground floor in the rear of the building facing west, which is the area that they're proposing to convert to residential, has been vacant since last year. And the area is generally surrounded by residential of various densities and intensities, and then you do have the funeral home immediately to the south. So they're here today to request a special use. In our zoning ordinance, it's specified as a residence when located above or to the rear of a principal use. They're also asking for site plan and architectural approval because there are some very slight exterior modifications that will be happening as well. So here's the building as it is today. The picture in the top left is the view from Oak Park Avenue at the site's driveway to the parking lot. And the pictures on the bottom, on the left-hand side and the center, that is the rear of the building. And then the air conditioner equipment and the electrical boxes, those are on the north side of the building, I believe. So the plan is to convert a portion of the existing office space to a residential unit. They're proposing to reduce the size of Suite 102, so not eliminate it entirely, but reduce the size by 885 feet. They would then construct a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom dwelling unit, which would be 885 feet. The plan is to remove 1 window on the west facade so that there will be a dedicated residence entrance. So they're proposing to remove, they're like 3 bay window, not bay, 3 pieces. They're proposing to take one of those out of one of the window sections, put a door there. Then they're proposing to do something similar on the south side of the building, which would add a patio door and add a 40 square foot patio, so 4x10 patio. The plan is to put a railing around that to kind of give it a defined and more private space. And then they will designate 2 parking stalls as being for residents only. The zoning ordinance specifies that 2.5 parking stalls are required per dwelling unit in our base zoning districts. We also have it in the zoning ordinance that when a fraction occurs, you should round down, not round up. So they're required to, they're proposing to. The existing space in the building, if that was used for active medical office, if it was like fully leased up and occupied, there would be a more intense parking requirement because we would have more people utilizing that amount of space. You'd have customers or patients, and you'd also have the providers as well. So this is a reduction in intensity in terms of parking. So the petitioner is confident that the remaining amount of parking, which would be 47 then dedicated for the commercial users, is adequate to serve the remainder of the building, even if it was fully leased up. So here is the site plan. This is more of a existing condition site plan. You can see that the area to be converted for the apartment or for the dwelling unit is at the southwest corner in this drawing. South is up. So closest to the funeral home is where this apartment would be. The patio would look out onto that property. There's a substantial building setback between the funeral home building and this property, so it's not like you're looking out the window and seeing caskets or something. Yeah, so they're proposing to reallocate that space, and then I have the floor plan for the unit. The zoning ordinance requires that a studio or one-bedroom apartment have a minimum floor area of 800 square feet. They're proposing 885. This is a pretty nice floor plan for a one-bedroom unit. The bedroom is relatively large, has a separate dining area. You could use that as an office if that was more appropriate for you, because you do have they're proposing a large peninsula in the kitchen. So we haven't seen any final construction plans yet. They haven't submitted for a building permit yet, but this is what the proposal for the zoning purposes is. Two things to note. One is that the entry on the west side of the building would be dedicated just for this single residential unit, so you would not have any mixing of medical office customers or staff using the same door. It's fully separate. It has a separate full exit onto the patio, so that would also be fully private. And then there is an emergency door that leads into the public corridor of the building that I would assume would only be used in the event of an emergency, or if someone wants to live in the same building they work in and they lease the space. So that's the proposal. I'll show you the exterior changes. The proposal to add the door is going to be, like I said, they're removing one of the window sections and just replacing it with a solid door. They're proposing to add a canopy above the door and add lighting, so it'll be more like coming to a residence than to an office, and it'll feel safe and comfortable, have protection from the rain. The parking spaces that will be specifically dedicated to the residential use are right in front of that door, so you would be hopping out of your car, walking a few steps, and you'd be at your front door. And that is the extent of the proposal. So really, they're proposing very minimal changes to the building. It's really just swapping out windows for doors and then adding a small patio and that canopy. Otherwise, the site changes are really just adding a small walkway to the primary entrance of the building, and then having that 40 square foot patio dedicated to this single residence use. And I have the standards on screen.
And add one light, right? One sconce.
Yes, add yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. Is the petitioner here? Do the petitioner wants to say anything? If so, I will have to state your name and I'll swear you in.
Hello, my name's Betsy Ginsberg. I'm the architect for Jason Crescenzo, and I'm here to answer any questions.
Sure, I'll swear you in, Betsy.
Okay.
Betsy, do you swear or affirm that the evidence you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please proceed.
Sorry, could you please fill out the public comment form as well?
Yeah, if you can write your name down
Just
there,
your
too.
name and I think address
Sure.
is what they asked for.
And then you want to introduce
Oh,
yourself?
I'm Ellen Sims. I'm the building manager for Dr. Crescenzo.
Okay, Ellen, I'll swear you in as well.
Okay.
Ellen, do you swear or affirm that the evidence you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and then just sign, once Betsy's done, when you come up, just sign
Okay.
your name, your full name.
That's okay. I'll switch it. It's okay.
Okay, go ahead, Betsy.
I don't have a formal presentation. I'm really just here to answer any questions.
Fair enough. Okay, we will start with Commissioner Merrick.
Yeah, I guess the only question I have, and maybe this doesn't apply and we don't need to know, is the person who would live in this space, they have separate control for electric, gas, utilities, the ability to manage their own temperature, all those sorts of things?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Great, excellent. Commissioner Gatto.
I guess I'm not understanding, this building is strictly a commercial use, and the look of the building, to me, does not render having residential in the rear. So I'm not understanding what is the need for this.
You know what the need is?
Pretty much it's to lower the taxes. And then we also have 2 doctors that just came to work with us. One of them was from Colorado. And right now, he's renting in Naperville, but he was hoping in the future to be able to maybe move in down there.
And I do think, like, I thought we had in front of us the funeral home. She was in here, and they
Yeah,
made
but-
the residence on that top story too.
Yeah, they
You
were-
have the residential right there to the west. But I understand, like, we even have the one that we approved for 183rd and Oak Park Avenue, and I passed by it. And that one was like, probably more different, I'd say, than this. I think this has a nice layout. Somebody can park there and have like their individual,
Yeah, I just,
but,
it's just, I don't know. Not understanding, because then at some point, if he sells the building, like, what now? Is that person gonna rent out that unit again? You know what I mean?
sure, yeah, I mean, that's a fair question. In terms of, this is kind of hinted at with Commissioner Merrick, where he was talking about utilities, but like, if somebody ever sells the building, that person is out then?
At our old office, 16906, we have the old Amazing Smiles downstairs, and upstairs is an apartment.
Yeah.
And we were thinking about selling it. Now we're going to just use it for our specialists. And when we were gonna sell it, one of our stipulations was that they had to let the renter stay there and finish out their lease, and then they could decide if they wanted to continue on.
Okay, I think that's fair, right? Like, as long as it's spelled out. And I know I have friends where their lease would be up in a year or something, and then they were back to, but, that's what happens when you sign a lease, right? So you're just there for that amount of time, but, any other comments?
No.
Commissioner Manny?
No, I think it looks nice, since you got residential there, to the north, looks good.
Thank you.
I actually do concur with Commissioner Manny on the layout. I think it's really good. We've seen a lot of different ones on second floors and so on and so forth. And I think this is like, if you're a single person in Tinley Park, it's probably a really nice place. And then at night, you got a lot of parking, right? So,
Yeah.
and I know you mentioned this, Michael, but anytime I pass a funeral, I see it packed, I'm like, I'm having a better day than those people, and I say a prayer, but, so I think it's not too bad in terms of layout. Commissioner Gaskell?
No, I'm happy with what they came up with.
Commissioner Hamilton?
Yeah, it looks nice, and if it's my understanding that the village actually encourages the mixed use. And there's a tax advantage to that? I wasn't quite.
Yes, actually, somebody from the village actually was a patient of ours, and he's the one who mentioned it to us, and that's why we decided to move forward.
Because
Cook County has a mixed-use property classification that substantially decreases taxes based on standalone, or relative to standalone commercial uses. So it's really the county strongly incentivizing mixed-use development by offering a different tax classification that allows the decrease.
Can you let us know when that came into effect? I know that there's a national housing crisis and has been, Matthew Iglesias wrote about this 20 years ago, and it's gotten worse. I'm just interested when that,
Do you have any idea?
no.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
It's been on the books for a while, but I know that the county kind of has, in the last like decade or so, put more of a burden on the commercial properties and less of a burden on the residential properties, just because that's your voters, honestly. So relatively speaking, commercial properties in Cook County pay a higher share than residential properties. So this mixed-use classification allows it to sort of be classified as residential, and it brings down the tax burden substantially.
To the commercial, which is spread out amongst all the people of Cook County.
Yes. Yes.
I will say this, though, I don't know when, but like, we did get a lot of cases in front, like the old Durbins, they want to put some sort of apartment up there, next to two beauticians at the time, the place next to Aurelio's. We started getting a lot of these, but I know, like, and I don't think this was in effect then, but when they did the old Cardinal Fitness, which is now the karate and stuff, like, they had that mixed use there, but we didn't see, I mean, that was before my time here, but like, it just seemed like we had a lot of those come in front of us.
Yeah, we did.
You know,
And I remember something like the legacy code, there's something specifically in the legacy code about mixed use.
In some, because the legacy code area is broken up into different sub-districts, so some of those sub-districts require that if there's residential at all, it needs to be a mixed-use building. So that's kind of trying to steer people toward the center of downtown so that we have residents to support the local
Yeah.
businesses, reduce
Shop
the parking
downstairs, some
demand.
upstairs
things
is
like
the
that.
model.
Yeah.
So this will be the village's first true conversion. You see this all the time in the news now. Old office buildings in the Loop are getting converted to residential because there isn't a market for the office space.
Yeah.
You could kind of consider this like a micro trend, kind of our version of this, that they're converting unused office space into residential. Yes, there is a substantial tax benefit to doing that, but it is also providing an additional dwelling unit to the village. You could argue it will probably be reasonably priced based on what it is and where it is. So, yeah, in our upcoming comprehensive plan, we have, specific language about encouraging different types of housing development. Conversion units would be a good place to start for any vacant office space that we might have. So we view this as a good planning practice.
We had Avocado Theory, you did the same thing about 4 years ago.
Where?
Avocado Theory.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah.
Right across from the old Durbins.
Yeah.
He put a unit up there that had dedicated entry, and it was nice. Good thing about this floor plan is even if it were to happen that they wanted to, for some reason, go back to commercial the way it's designed, it could easily be converted back to it.
I
Except
agree.
that particular commercial, you have your own dedicated entry, you really don't have to change anything but the bathroom. That'll be it.
I agree.
Take the kitchen out, or that could be a pantry, so it could be turned over.
I would say it's probably a sneaky good spot. I do, I think you're gonna have a lot of parking at night if you had people over and stuff, and,
Party.
yeah, I'm serious. I would say if you were a young bachelor or bachelorette, that's probably a good, but my one question was gonna be this, like, because the other vacant space, I know the tenant was unknown, but staff did a good job in the report. It said, and Michael mentioned it today in his verbal report, was that, it's gonna reduce the parking lot anyhow. You have two required and they meet that requirement. So anything you put, the existing parking lot should be sufficient. I'm just curious, like, in terms of, I know you guys don't know, cause like, it's vacant, but are you looking to match daytime hours like the other facilities, like the Smiles and whatnot, or, what are you looking at as an appropriate fit per se? I'm just,
So right now, we have a vasectomy clinic that's in on Sundays and Wednesdays from 5 AM to 2 PM. And we have an eye doctor that's in on Tuesdays from 9 to 2. So we're really not looking to open up anything else at the moment. We're pretty much keeping Amazing Smiles upstairs, and then we're looking to put the specialist down the street. If we were to open up that part on the first floor, we were talking about maybe even putting like the orthodontist down there, and she only comes in 2 days a week. 2 days a month, I'm sorry.
Okay. So it'd be kind of similar medical or, professional type
Yes.
services, okay. Does anybody else have any other questions?
No.
At this time, I'll ask if there's any questions or comments from the public? Okay.
Oh.
Yes, if you can state your name and also write it in the book, and then.
Sure.
swear
My
you
name is Therese Radke. I did receive this letter because I live within 250 feet of the office building. I'm on 165th Place, second house over. I do want to, our taxes, I know that's a whole nother.
Let me swear you in.
Oh, you're swearing
I'm
me in,
sorry.
okay.
Therese, do you swear or affirm that the evidence you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please proceed.
Okay. Our taxes go up. I'm curious about, years ago, I was on the school district's Buildings and Facilities Committee, and I learned a whole lot about the taxes, the residential versus commercial, how Cook County was kind of losing business to Will County, because Will County puts the burden on the residents instead of the businesses. So a lot of businesses, especially in the south and, southern suburbs, were just moving right into Will County. I saw that happen, and it was like 20 years ago is when that exodus started. My concern is if the tax burden, what is the change? Do we know what the tax dollars that will not be collected if you change that entire building? Because you're changing the property, correct? Right, not just that 885 square foot of living space.
You would be changing how the property is classified, and then there's a different formula that gets applied by the assessor to determine what
So
the
we're
taxes
talking,
would be.
it could be a substantial amount. And to me, it's like that money doesn't go away. You clearly said it gets spread on the other, taxpayers of Cook County.
Right.
And, I don't know when enough's enough, it's very difficult for residents, we've been in town 39 years. And, we want to stay, but, my taxes went up a lot the last, assessment. I'm sure they're gonna go up again. So, that's what concerns me, and especially our area being the older, it is the older folks. It is the set income that are really gonna feel the burden of this. And if there's a way, I would really just love to know what those numbers are, as far as from the mixed use, because then that's residential and commercial, correct? Mixed use?
But
If there's a way
Therese,
to
if
do
I
the
may,
percentage.
So have you ever protested your taxes?
I have,
Okay, good.
I have.
It's a good practice to do.
Sometimes I get it, sometimes I
Right,
don't.
and the mayor puts out,
I know next week, right?
yeah, so I encourage you to go, and if you have not, please go, but it sounds like you know the drill. And it is something where the assessors assess you like you live in a mansion in heaven, right? And then, but like, I don't think there's like necessarily, even if, they're still gonna grab their money from cookie jars, right?
Right.
A lot of times, if one person out of 10 protests and wins, the other people, they're playing with, they got their house money, so to speak. So I don't know if there's like, I suffice to say that them getting this one multi, if
Right.
it does get reclassified as multi-use, if it does pass, will there be some sort of ripple effect? I'm sure, like, taxes always typically go up, they don't go down,
Right.
right? But like, but it sounds like you do your due diligence in terms of, being forthright and keeping on it, because like, I agree, the last tax assessment went through the roof.
It was, it
So,
was.
and, I'm a taxpayer myself, so I share your pain.
Right. I think-
Can I add something too here?
Sure.
So one of the things that came up through the strategic plan that's being built is that there's actually fewer homes and residents in Tinley Park than there was 20, 30 years ago. So
Mhm.
we need to readjust to make it
To
a
that.
space where more people move in,
Right,
which would then better spread the
right, but
costs of taxes and services around, too.
right, and I think it is a ripple effect. You know, first, like you said, we had Brady Gill, and, you know, they got theirs, and now, you know, this one, and then what's gonna be the next business? You know, it's different to me when businesses were built with residential and business, you know, combined, like the apartments along, you know, the railroad tracks, or Rubino's, for example. You know, that was built with the apartments above it. And, you know, it just seems like, okay, well, let's put in a one-bedroom, one-bath, boom, we're getting our taxes cut in half. That, to me, that's just not fair for the village, you know, as a whole, for collecting those tax dollars. That's my concern too, you know, not just myself and my neighbors, but the village as a whole. Because there's a lot of money that's going out, you know, that we could still be collecting from businesses that profit. You know, the residents aren't profiting from anything, they're just still paying.
We also have heard in the past 8 years, 9 years, when petitioners would come in, and they're pretty forthright about the taxes.
Mhm.
And if not, we're probably gotta move. So I think, you know, it's a fine balance, and, you know, I wish I had the answer for taxes, like, Cook
Right,
County, we're sharing the same county as Chicago, and they have that multiplier, and they make it confusing purposely, right?
Mhm.
So I don't know how transparent that is, and when you look at, you know, you see these news reports that Chicago is in a deficit, they can't
Mhm.
balance their budget, and so they're gonna tax more. So I think there's a lot of variables that probably come into play when you open those tax bills at the beginning of the year and, you know,
Mhm.
in August. So, you know, like I said, I think everybody here in this room, we can relate.
Mhm. No, thank you for hearing me out.
Okay. Thank you, Teresa. Is there anybody else from the public wishing to speak? I don't see anybody, so, okay, at this time, may I have a, well, go
If I
ahead.
might, I just want to make one comment. I think the answer to the whole tax issue is actually growing and developing the businesses, right? It's encouraging businesses to come into the city, stay here, invest. That's what draws people in, draws more people. I think when we get into where I want them to pay more than me, that's a bad game. I think then we lose. But how to make our village, our area, more attractive to businesses, I think that's what we gotta try to figure out and foster. Then there's more for everybody. Rising tide lifts all boats.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, hopefully we have win-wins that benefit everybody in the community, those who work here and those who live here. Okay, with that said, may I have a motion to close the public hearing? I heard Commissioner Gaskell, do I have a second?
Okay.
Commissioner Manny, second. All those in favor to close the public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, the motion is carried. Michael, do you want to go through the standards?
Yeah, I'll go through them quickly. So right now I have on screen the architecture and site plan standards for consideration. And then I also have the special use standards. So I'll provide a response to some of these. So the standards are generally getting at that the use doesn't create any sort of nuisance or problem in the neighborhood, and that there's sufficient infrastructure to support the use. So this just being a reallocation of existing space, providing an additional dwelling in the village, additional type of dwelling as well. It does provide benefit to the village as far as the zoning ordinance is concerned. And then I will also say that yeah, okay, I already covered it. Yeah, so
Okay.
generally it would be beneficial to have this.
Okay, thank you, Michael. We'll move on to the motions. Motion one on the site plan architectural approval. Do you have a motion?
I'll make a motion to grant the petitioner, Dr. Jason Crescenzo, on behalf of Tinley Park Medical Property LLC and Amazing Smiles site plan and architectural approval at 16532 Oak Park Avenue in the B3 General Business and Commercial Zoning District. In accordance with the plan submitted and adopt findings of fact as proposed in the August 7th, 2025 staff report, subject to the following conditions. 1. Approval is subject to the approval of the requested special use permit by the village board.
Okay, do I have a second? Okay, motion made by Commissioner Manny, seconded by Commissioner Gaskell. Michael, can I have a roll call?
Commissioner Gaskell.
Yes.
Commissioner Gatto.
Yes.
Commissioner Hamilton.
Yes?
Commissioner Manny.
Yes.
Commissioner Merrick.
Yes.
Chairman Gray.
Yes. Okay, motion 1 is approved. Now may I have a motion number 2 regarding the special use?
I'd like to make a motion to recommend that the village board grant Dr. Jason Crescenzo on behalf of Tinley Park Medical Property LLC and Amazing Smiles a special use for a dwelling located to the rear of a principal commercial use at 16532 Oak Park Avenue in the B3 General Business and Commercial Zoning District in accordance with the plan submitted and adopted findings of fact as proposed in the August 7th, 2025 staff report.
Do we hear a second?
A second.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Gatto, seconded by Commissioner Hamilton. Michael, could I get a roll call?
Commissioner Gaskell.
Yes.
Commissioner Gatto.
Yes.
Commissioner Hamilton.
Yes?
Commissioner Manny.
Yes.
Commissioner Merrick.
Yes.
Chairman Gray.
Yes. Okay, motion 2 is carried. So this item will go to the village board August 19th, 2025. So the petitioner and their team, please get with staff on the details on how to attend. Okay? Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
We'll move on to the good of the order for tonight. Staff, do you have anything to present for the good of the order?
I'll hand it over to Mike in a moment to do the kind of run through of everything. Okay.
Okay, you know, before that, there was another received comments from the public.
Oh,
I have them
sorry.
flipped on my sheet, but if there's any comments from the public? Okay? No? Okay. Right,
Can you have two?
you can have 2, yeah. So, okay, we'll move on, seeing none. We'll move on to good of the order. Proceed, Mike.
So I'll start. I just wanted to let you all know that Jason Engberg was, or he has put in his notice with the village. His last day is going to be August 15th. The reason he's not here tonight is because he is being appointed the planning director of Glendale Heights.
Oh, wow.
So he's at their board meeting probably right now getting appointed. So his last day will be August 15th. He did say that he would reach out to all of you individually with, I don't know, a letter or something, kind of like a goodbye thing since he wasn't here. And I know that the last departure in the planning department was kind of abrupt, so yeah, he offered that. And then, yeah, if you have any specific questions about any projects, we're happy to provide updates. The last several things we've talked about is the big ones have been Pete's and Jack in the Box, and those are both probably within the month.
Okay, excellent. That'll be very good, yeah.
Thought Pete's was gonna be like in a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, that deadline has moved back quite often. I keep in touch with them at least once a week about what's truly happening. I go out there and I talk to their superintendent, who's the project manager for the whole site. There was some, the owner of Pete's suffered a stroke, probably sometime in the beginning of May. He is getting back on his feet now, so now all of a sudden things are starting to move. At yesterday's board, we did have a representative, the risk manager of Pete's, state that September 3rd is going to be the opening. Okay, they have to finish their parking lot. They're picking up some changing grades that they have to fix, and they're doing some commissioning of their equipment. But the game plan right now is September 3rd at Pete's will be open. August 24th is the deadline, or what I'm hearing, and a lot of it's hearsay, but that's when Jack in the Box will be opening.
August
Uh,
what?
Pardon me?
September what? August?
August 24th.
Okay.
So, and
I'm
then
ready.
we have Seven Brew, that will be coming shortly. So Seven Brew is a prefabricated building that's put down on a concrete pad. So once they get the site work and the utilities and the concrete foundation, the building is plopped down on its foundation, and they put all the guts, mechanical equipment, coffee equipment in. That seems to be the biggest question I'm getting from the 18 to 25-year-olds, which my daughter is part of, is when the Seven Brew coming, so I have to answer a lot of questions to her. So Jack in the Box, Seven Brew, and then my wife with Pete's. So it's like, I come home and I get drilled. But,
I got a lot of people asking about Pete's.
Yeah.
yes, yes, well, once we got going with the project, it'll be a nice addition to support with Chick-fil-A, and it'll be really spice it up. And then Pete's has got another concept that's coming around that we're in the very beginning process of. We have the sports dome that is going through the final engineering phase. We have some mass grading being done out there, which is 80th and 191st. That's going to have a nice 135,000 square foot dome with batting cages, soccer fields, and then it's going to be an 18,000 square foot support building that will be coming to next phase. So that'll be starting and working through the fall to get that structure up. So once we get the foundation in, then they get the dome up, and they bring in backup generators, and that project's pretty much done. So that'll be a nice big addition over there, so.
Yeah,
But,
it's gonna spice up the town. I think a lot of these additions are really good. It really invigorates, it's fun.
Yeah.
I do visit everything we approve, well, most, not medical stuff, but like, but like, you know, it's
How about Topgolf?
Topgolf, my understanding is a restructuring. Okay, the plans are still, they're still in my office. I pulled the dust off of them every once in a while with the hopes that they will, plans were approved. We went through 3 review processes, and they corrected everything, and they're just waiting there. And we're just waiting for them to go ahead and say, you know, okay, we're ready to go, but there was a restructuring with it. I don't know any more details other than that, but that's where we're at. We do have some infill tenants that'll be coming into the infill portion by Amazon, where they infilled 3 tenant spaces. We are working with some leads to help with Pete's on some of those 3 tenant spaces they have. So we're really marketing the village to get some good tenants in there to help our major tenants like Pete's and Brixmore and things like that. And I have to say that one of the things that I'm proud of being a resident here for over 30 years is the amount of programs that we have, sign programs, grants, redevelopment grants, facade grants. I think we had the breakfast place. I love that place. I can't think of it in Oak Park.
Yeah.
They just did their facade grant. They did.
Egg and I.
Egg and I. They did the work in literally 3 days. And the project's complete. Now, it looks totally different, completely fixed up. It's great. You know, but we have a lot of programs, and you don't see that. You know, Goddles just informed me that in another municipality, they struggle getting answers. They don't get no assistance. We don't want that because you have this within 3 miles. He goes, we all, you know, they don't assist you. It's not what we have here. You know, you want to come in, we have an idea. Carolyn Matera comes in and does a great job. Just, well, here's what we think we could do. Here's what we could do. You could apply for this type of a grant, and we'll assist you. And just to help the businesses get off their feet, you know, or assist them to fix their facades and get a redevelopment and you know, get them going. So, you know, we have all of these businesses coming. We have a retail coach that is helping us fill all these spots, and he says there's a big demand in Tinley Park. So a lot of good things are coming.
A lot of good things coming. I agree, Mike. I agree, yeah.
Yeah, in residential, you know, what Commissioner Merrick has said, that there's a lot more development coming in, like West Point. They are doing a grading out there right now, getting the utilities set. Our utility infrastructure's in. They're gonna be submitting in for permits, they've got construction fences going up tomorrow, I was informed. And they're gonna start putting 68 new townhouses there, which is gonna support the businesses by Harmony Square.
Right.
And hope you spur another big major restaurant that we're working with in the Boulevard. So all of that is a trickle-down effect.
Which was
Yeah.
built out correct.
No, it's just all concrete.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
Get
good to
that?
see Harmony Square, I get passed by it, minimum 4 times a day, but if I go home for lunch 6 times,
It's packed,
and it's,
it's
yes.
packed.
And then you have kids doing the, the water
Mhm.
thing, and,
Yep.
but people are there throwing the football around and stuff, and it's just the beginning, it's just the beginning of things to come.
I think we just finished 67 Court Extension.
Oh,
And it was amazing how they were doing the pavers there. They did a concrete base that's a good 6-inch thick
yeah,
with rebar, and then they're dropping 4-foot sections of pavers.
Huh.
Whereas the pavers that were along Harmony Square were all hand
Yeah.
herringboned in.
Mhm.
This is, they're dropping it down, and that alone was like, I couldn't imagine what 67 continuing through.
yeah.
But when you think about how it's gonna relieve all of the vehicular stress on that
Yeah.
train station parking lot, that's a very big deal. And I think that's gonna spur that second phase, once the townhouses are done, that's gonna be that mixed use.
Yeah.
But ground floor commercial and that residential above, that'll be the next thing, that whole area will change.
I know, exciting times, exciting
Yes.
times, yeah.
Yes,
Lots of stuff in Tinley Park. Good time to be on the plan commission. So we won't be wanting for work, that's for sure.
Can we get a raise?
You can. Sure. 0 times 10 is.
0.
0%.
Okay, any other good of the order items? Okay, we'll move on to adjourn the meeting. May I have a motion to close the meeting?
I'll make a motion to close the meeting.
Second.
Second, third, fourth.
Okay, the meeting, all those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, motion is carried. The meeting is adjourned at 8:38, I think, PM Central Time. Take care, everyone. Have a good weekend.